Do you want to create content but stay on a budget? Well, here's how I do it, and maybe some of this will be helpful to you. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. I've received a handful of questions in the last 9 months to a year asking me what my filming kit looks like. And I thought now would be a good time to do that since we're expecting 6 to 10 inches of snow today, over 9 inches tomorrow. So riding is out of the question. And I'm in the garage studio today. So I think the most important thing to know about my filming kit, my setup, is that I try to do everything on a reasonable budget. So keep that in mind. If you are wanting to start a channel, and I know quite a few of you out there that watch my channel also have your own channels. A few of you are quite a bit bigger than my channel, and some of you maybe not quite so big but are just getting started. Here's what I do, and with the audio, the video, and then also some tools like tripods that I use to try to make the best content on a budget. So if that is of interest to you, stick around. I'll go through the cameras that I have, where I get those cameras, how I use those cameras, and then also the evolution of my audio, what I've done, why I've done it that way, and then also the tripods that I use and why I use the ones that I use and how I travel with those. So real quick, before we get into the video, I was sent a 12-volt outlet hub and asked to do a review. I declined to do the review, but I did offer to do it as a giveaway. So if you're interested in this 12-volt hub, then stick around to the very end and I will tell you how you can get this. All right, I'm gonna start with the video side of things. I don't try to film anything over 1080p, but I do use 60 frames per second, which I'll explain here in a minute why I do that. So the cameras that I get, I don't buy 4K cameras. I don't buy 2.4K cameras either. I tend to stick with 1080p. You start getting into 2.4 and 4K file sizes, they get really, really big. And then it requires more computing power in order to edit those files. So that's another reason why I go to 1080, because the file size is much more usable. And I think with a good quality camera filming at 1080, the quality is actually pretty decent, and I'm quite happy with it. Now, I know some of you may have been triggered when I said 60 frames per second, because you know that our eye is only capable of seeing 24 frames per second, and anything more than that, visually, we won't be able to see. And 30 frames per second is more than sufficient. However, I film in 60 frames per second because when I get home, I sit down, I download all of my video. I don't know exactly what I have captured. I have an idea, but sometimes I look at it and it might be something I want to slow down. So if I want to slow it down to half speed, it's still at 30 frames per second, so it's seamless. And I do that with all of my cameras, so that I have that ability to slow things down. And then also with some image stabilization, I think that the image comes out a little bit better, especially if I'm using the image stabilization from the editing software. So keeping that in mind, I film at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So I try to get cameras that all fit in that. Now, they all aren't capable of 60 frames per second. I might be at 30 frames per second, like say on my drone, but I'm okay with that. I can work with it, but my preference is 60. So camera-wise, in the evolution, the one thing that I saw is people were spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on their cameras, and I knew that that was not possible for me. So what I wanted to do was get something that would be functional, to be quick and easy to set up, and would work for me. And the one camera I kept coming back to was these camcorders, because they're very basic, they're very simple. They can capture your audio, and you can frame your picture, your what you're trying to capture really easy on the flip out screen. And it has the ability to take still pictures, but I wasn't really interested in still pictures. I really wanted video. And so I have been using camcorders for probably about 5 years now. And the iteration, I've slowly gotten better and better ones. I really like taking third-person shots, doing the drive-bys, the ride-bys, and then just being able to set up a quick talking headshot, especially if I'm traveling. These things you cannot get any faster than this. So you just flip that open, make sure that the camera lens is open, and then it's done. I hit record and I'm good to go. And I can put this on a tripod and have a tripod set up in minutes. A lot of the third person ride bys that I do, I have timed myself. It's anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes from the time I stop the bike to the time that I am turning around, picking up everything and back on the road. So it depends on how complicated the shot is. If I'm having to go off-road and I've got to maybe hike a little bit more, those will take longer, but for most of it, 5 to 10 minutes, very, very fast to set up. I've been using the Canon. I have an R600. I did have an R500 that I absolutely loved. And from this previous May 2023, for the last year and a half, I've been using the R500. I thought it captured light pretty well. And the sound, being able to get an audio input, worked really well. The image quality was good. I lost that camera on the Mid-Atlantic BDR. I upgraded to the R600. I will say I have not been happy with this camera, so I've made some changes, and that's what I'm filming on today that I'll talk about. But the point about being budget, the R500 that I had, I paid $150 for it. I picked it up off of eBay. I buy these cameras used. It's worked really well for me. I paid $150 for this camera, and it came with a shotgun mic that I'll talk about later on whether or not I use it. But that's not too bad. $150 for a main camera that I had used for a lot of stuff. Now, additional cameras. I like the little action cameras, but I don't like GoPro. I got away from GoPro years ago. I've tried a variety of little different kind of action cameras. I really like the Akaso cameras because of the price. Brand new, I paid $129 for this Akaso Brave 7. I know the price of these has gone up. I don't use this as a helmet camera because it doesn't have one button filming, action start, action stop, like a lot of other cameras do. I like this little action camera because I like doing time lapse, especially out west when you've got great vistas, sunsets, sunrises, cloud movement, things like that, shadows moving back and forth. I find these to be really cool. And action cameras are great to do that because I can be doing a time lapse while I'm filming something else on my main camera. I also like this particular camera because it has a screen on the front as well as on the back. So say I stop somewhere and I want to grab a bite to eat, and maybe I want to film something I'm doing. Maybe I want to talk to this camera real briefly and whatever I'm doing during my travel. I can do that very easily with this camera. It's not as conspicuous as setting up something bigger. So I have a small tripod I can pop this on, and I can kind of tuck it in the condiments if I don't want to necessarily have people see me. So I like this. I use this a lot when I was down in Baja because of the convenience of setting it up. Now for helmet cameras, I really like the Sony action camera. I like the simplicity of it. I like the image quality of it. And I really like the price of these. So I've been using an AS100 for 3 years now, and the audio on it is extremely reliable. I've never had an issue. It's a one button push to record, one button push to stop the recording, and it powers itself off. It has built-in image stabilization. It films at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So it gives me a lot of options of what I can do. Now, the problem with these little cameras is getting a microphone input, which I'll show a little bit better on my helmet here. Right, real quick, the AS100, I have this really funky contraption on my helmet. Makes a ton of noise, but it is the only way that I can get the audio out of the camera into my helmet, basically hook up a mic. I paid about $80 for my AS100. Been using it for quite some time. The other great thing is they're water resistant, and it's called splash proof in the current case. So I've been taking these in rain and everything else just in the way it is. I don't put the big waterproof case over the top of it, although I could do that, but it's difficult to get the audio out. So really great little cameras. I have an AS200 that I've started using on my other helmet. For B-roll, these work great. And that's primarily what I use my helmet cameras for, is B-roll. I don't do a lot of vlogging. Great little cameras. You can pick up a variety of these little Sony cameras. I have an AS 15. I paid like 50 or 60 bucks for this. I use this on my helmet. I use this on my handlebar if I want to get some third person from the handlebar looking back at me. Same, one touch on, one touch off, and they work pretty good for that. So yeah, these little cameras. Now there's one other camera I have on here that I really have enjoyed using, but it's not doing so well anymore, and that is a drone. From the budget side of things, drones are not budget. I fell in love with all the drone footage I was seeing from all of the other content creators, motorcycle content creators, and that was something I really wanted to do. So I've had this drone about 4 years. I did pay $400 for it when I bought it. I really, really wanted to get into getting drone footage, and I have gotten some great drone footage over the years, but I also got it stuck in a tree. It fell probably 40 feet to the ground, so my drone hasn't been doing so well. So if I want to continue to do this, I'll need to get an upgrade. But as far as staying in budget content, drones, quality drones, just they're not budget. It's really expensive. Drones can really add a lot of dynamic content to your channel. If you're looking for a really good camera and don't want to spend a lot of money, you may also want to consider the one that's in your phone. The cameras in the phones today are really, really good. And the camera I'm actually filming this on is a Samsung Galaxy S22. Now that's normally an $800 phone, but I got an upgrade from T-Mobile, so it didn't cost me anything. And that might be a great way to get started, is just use your phone, especially if you are into having the latest and greatest phones. The video quality out of the phones now is fantastic. And then all you need is one of these little adapter here, and you can put this on any tripod and film that way. The only thing that you may want to do is make sure you understand the settings. I will say it's been my experience with this particular camera. It has regular standard video, and then it has what's called Pro Video, which I don't know if that's an Android thing, but the regular video it's okay, but the Pro Video really steps things up. So use the highest quality you possibly can if you're going to use your phone, and then you can get the files off there, edit them. There's even editing software that you can put on your phone and do everything from your phone if you wanted to. So I do think some of the best cameras right now are the ones that you carry in your pocket. So keep that in mind. All right, let's talk audio. So I started off with no microphones when I first started, just using a camera microphone. And it didn't take long before I realized that that was not going to be sufficient. I needed to come up with a better audio solution. So like this is a talking head with B-roll added in. I still needed a way to get good audio in. So what I ended up doing is buying a Boya wired mic to start with. I think it has a 20-foot range on it, and I have used this for years. This is my second one. The sound quality is great. It's battery powered, so if you're plugging into a camera that requires a powered microphone, this does the job. I paid $20 for this microphone, and this style of microphone I used for 2-3 years and created a lot of content from that. Now, I did get comments from people saying, well, why are you using a wired mic? You should get a wireless mic. Well, a good quality wireless mic is about 5 times the cost of this. And for the type of stuff I was doing with a lot of travel, all my equipment gets beat up. So I did get a lot of use out of this. When I bought my R600 Canon camcorder, it came with this shotgun mic. I've tried using a shotgun mic. I personally don't recommend it, especially really unless you have an absolutely silent area that you're filming in. What I found is this microphone picked up all of the ambient sound around me. So if you're wanting ambient noise, great. You want to hear the birds chirping, great. You want to hear every single car miles away coming and then leaving, perfect. Use a shotgun mic. But I just have not found a shotgun mic to be great for the type of video content that I do. Maybe in a film studio that's more quiet, this would work. But for now, I have set that aside, which gets me to this, which is a wireless mic, which I picked up about a month ago. Now, this is made by the same company that made the wired mic, Boya. And the great thing about this particular wireless mic, for wireless mics, it wasn't bad. It's a 2-channel input, so I have 2 different microphones. So if I'm filming with somebody else, I can give them a mic as well, and both of our audio will be picked up. It comes in this little rechargeable case, which is fantastic. I think if I'm doing a trip, this will last me probably a week's worth, and it's a USB-C, so I can recharge this case on the road. It's very versatile by being able to be plugged into. Right now, I have a phone that I'm using. If I want to go into a camcorder or even to an iPhone, it has adapters to switch between whatever device you're using. So I have been very pleased with this. I think the gain is a bit high in this environment. Outside, it's not as bad, but compared to what I was using before, not having wires everywhere and having a little bit more creativity, like the video I did when I got a flat tire, I was able to add some dynamic features to filming that I haven't done before, like rolling up and already having the mic working. This is when it started becoming real. So that has been excellent. So if you're looking for a wireless mic that is fairly budget oriented, I think the Boya is good. The last thing I want to talk about with my filming kit is tripods. I don't like to spend a lot of money on tripods, and trying to keep everything very budget oriented. I have really been pleased with one particular tripod, and that is the Amazon Basics tripod. This is, I think, my 3rd one. Tripods, at least for me on the bike, they get beat to death. This one's got dents all over it. I honestly have no idea how it's getting dents in it when it sits in the back of my bike. I guess from getting bounced around, I'm not exactly sure. But what I like about this particular tripod is I can adjust each leg individually, as opposed to some of the ones that come down and they've got the small 3-leg at the bottom that's very short, and then you've got a stem that sticks up. If I'm on uneven surface, those tripods are very hard to get to stand up straight, where something where each of the legs is adjustable, that makes it very, very easy. Especially with the ride-by shots that I like to get, I have found this to be excellent. And keeping within a budget, I just ordered a new one of these, $22. So the great thing is when you start beating one up, you can leave one in the garage like I have done in order to use it for filming in here, and then I can carry one on the bike. And then as I continue to get more and more of these same little Amazon tripods, I keep getting the bases. So I've got multiple bases that I can switch around. So if I have multiple cameras I want to use on a single tripod, I've got multiple bases from those. So just as a little thing that has been helpful for me in what I've been doing. Now, the other thing about going with the $22 tripod is I have heard of people having a tripod stolen off their bikes. And I personally don't want to spend $70, $80, $100 for a tripod that's going to be on the back of the bike, maybe while I'm out hiking or in a restaurant or somewhere else where the risk of having it stolen is a possibility. Hopefully it wouldn't happen, but those things do happen. That's my filming kit in a nutshell. It's I'm trying to keep everything as budget oriented as possible. So hopefully this is helpful for you if you also don't want to spend a lot of money but want to try to create content. Now, I think the most important thing, and I'm not great at this, but is having a compelling story. So even if the quality of the video isn't the greatest, as long as you're telling a good story or it is something people are going to be interested in, maybe it's something you do to your bike that is unique, that's how you're going to get people watching. So even having the greatest of video quality, if the story is not great, if what you're trying to put out is not something that people are interested in, then you're not going to get the views either. So remember, it's not just the quality of the video, it's also the story you're trying to tell and what it is you're trying to convey, or whatever helpful information you're trying to get out to people. So yeah, if you've stuck around to the end and you are interested in this 12-volt power hub, there have been a couple of code words that I have put up in the upper right-hand corner. If you have watched it and seen those code words, if you are the first person to email me those code words, then I will let you know that I will be sending this to you. So don't send your name or address, just send me an email with the code words. And as soon as I see that email, I will let you know that you are the one that's going to be getting this. And then I'll ask you for your address and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful, especially if you're just trying to figure out how to make content and what you can do and maybe some ways to keep it budget oriented. But I will tell you, as time goes on and you continue to add more cameras, it's going to get expensive. Maybe work on the storytelling part of it now and just use whatever you have and get started that way. I think the hardest thing about making content for YouTube is just doing it. Once you get it out there, it's there. And a lot of it is just building volume of videos, a library of videos that once people see maybe one or two of your videos, they'll go back and start watching the other. So that's really kind of the key, is getting that volume of videos put together. Now, I'm not an expert. My channel is not growing as fast as I'd hope, but I still enjoy doing this and getting stuff out to you all. So thanks for watching. Hopefully it's not snowing where you are and you can get out and do some riding. Ride safe, and I will see you out there.